All right, guys, we're having a little technical difficulty, but we're going to do a top-down analysis here, recap, I should say, from today's TradeLAB, this 6th of November, 2014. And today we had, well, same thing as yesterday, conflict. White line here designating the 8 o'clock time that we open up and start trading for recognizing the sentiment stage that we had. S&P, very, very small range, didn't really get up and going until the stock market opened here at 9:30. Started to put in a larger range, went up and tested resistance. It's come off of it. Treasury notes on the right side have tested resistance 1 and 1B 2 times, 3 times, 4, 5, maybe 6. The fact of the matter is we've had our benchmarks both stay on the same side of the fence. That creates lower probabilities and higher risk scenarios for a lot of the markets that we scout, which can all be found over here at the RiosQuant website. So looking at the market Q rank here, only one slice of pie today stands out, and that was soybeans, looking for some failure on the downside. Looking for, a run down. That's what that tells you. Today we had a counter trend to the beans, but there was no trade that was clear that's set up. So we didn't do anything in the beans today. I'm just pointing that out, that a lot of neutral going on today. So we're basically waiting out the reports. So reports that we had today, crude oil and a couple out of Canada. Canada had building permits and the IVPMI number. I took a long trade on a breakout that I had earlier in the 6C. This is the Canadian futures. It just failed to really have any follow-through, more or less matched up what we did in the earlier morning. It failed and stopped me out. Good news is didn't have a lot of risk on this trade. I kept it fairly close, recognizing that it was a higher risk trade. The 6C correlated with the S&P, and the S&P in conflict, I traded light, and I had a smaller amount of risk. Now you see it took off later. I did not get back in. Could have got back in later, but I chose to go with the opposite side of this, which is the dollar CAD, the U.S. dollar against the Canadian currency. And I marked this up 104.33, helping everybody here in the lab identify a trade potential. The PMI number broke 10 minutes after I got in. Taking out the first and the second Gnostic levels and taking our money out of that. So what I lost in this 6C made back with the dollar CAD, and actually ended up being a little profitable net between the two. So a couple currencies. Then we go over to the NASDAQ, which is the only stock index that I participated in. Rough day yesterday in conflict, so a good quant trader, you're going to journal your trades. You're going to make note of what you could have done better, win, lose, or draw. Take a note of the most recent trade activity yesterday, trading during conflict. We don't want you trading when it's a conflict in the stock indices. It's a higher risk. I just do it to share with you what potentially can happen and how you would trade through it if you still have the itch to want to do it. So here I was trying at 9:30, looking for some continuation, looking for the bulls, and they just didn't come. Market pulled down to the bull, bounced, and took about 15 minutes to finally bounce. It kind of matched the high that we had earlier, and as you can see, it's now dipping into the bear territory, and we would have more or less a conflict going to mixed with the NASDAQ versus the Treasuries. Last market to speak of, the only other spot where I played today was the crude oil. Traded it twice with the report out at 10:30, all eyes on crude. I kind of threw conflict out the window. You can see what that cost me. I mean, I lost on the first attempt trying to drive short, didn't give up. If you once fail, get up and try to succeed the second time, which I did. Made back what I lost, which was the objective on this trade, to get back into it. I reversed at this very spot in the crude oil, reversing, and got out of the market actually before the report broke. Report broke over here 20 minutes later. So taking my money off, and the reason why I took the money off rather than wait for the report, trying to stick it out to make a few more bucks, the reason why I took off was because that C word, conflict. So that's the theme of the day. Tough day, to be honest with you. Net of the day, more or less a wash. I'm down about 0.5% for the day. I mentioned this earlier in the lab. Pretty happy about that. Obviously, we want to be profitable, but at the same time, we've got to manage those losses. That is the name of the game. It's not what you make. It's how much you manage, not losing. So with that being said, thanks for being in the Trade Lab, and we will catch you guys tomorrow morning.